Good morning. Welcome to the First Universalist Church of Yarmouth. My name is Andrew Tonks, and I'm a member of the board, the Worship Council, and the Adult Religious Exploration Council. And I'm happy to be greeting you today. Though COVID case numbers unfortunately remain very high, and we find ourselves once again gathering online, I still feel that we're together, and I'm grateful to share this morning with you. At First Universalist, our mission is to explore our faith, embrace this community, and to engage the world as spiritual seekers. May we take those words to heart. Before we begin our service, I have two announcements. First, our mini holiday fair yesterday was a great success. We raised $1,800 from sales of soups, jams, crafts, and fudge. Thank you all who made it possible, especially Dorothy, Janice, and Phyllis. And adding this to the main farm supper's $2,400, we'll be sending $4,200 to the Brunswick Topsom Land Trust for the Wabanaki Garden Project. First U is practicing justice. Also, our newly formed Adult Religious Exploration Council is up and running and looking to provide you with opportunities to explore, embrace, and engage. We invite you to take the Adult RE survey to let us know what you would like to happen in Adult RE this year and coming years. We also welcome you to fill out the Adult RE proposal form if you have a workshop or course you would like to offer. Links for the survey and the proposal form are in this week's channels and on the Adult RE webpage on the church website. And you can keep an eye on the Adult RE webpage for upcoming offerings, like, for example, a course that I'll be leading in January and February called New Growth from Old Roots, in which we'll take a non-orthodox look at the life and teachings of Jesus. Please email me if you're interested. Today, after our service, the Adult RE Council will also be offering a discussion of the book Women of the Dawn on Zoom. If you have any questions or ideas for the Adult RE Council, please feel welcome to contact us. The members of the council are Kathy McKenna, Ann Turner, Andrew Tonks, Dale Shields, and Director of Education and Communications, Gwen Matthews. Those are our announcements this morning. For other First U updates and events, including upcoming youth and adult RE offerings, opportunities to join small groups, and our solstice and Christmas Eve plans, please check out your Sunday morning news. I now invite you to take a deep breath with me. As we settle into this time together, Sam Chandler, our music director, will now play us into worship.
Rock of ages, let our song praise your saving power. You amidst the raging flood, were our shelter.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Gwen and Kai, who are tag teaming tech this morning. And thank you also, Mac, for co-leading our worship service with us. And thank you all for being here. Good morning. Happy December. How are we doing? Okay? My name is Hillary Collins-Gilpatrick. I am the minister of First Universalist Church in Yarmouth, Maine. And it is with joy that I say, whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, whatever you have done, whether you lit up a menorah this week, or a Christmas tree, or an Advent wreath, or a chalice, or whether you just enjoy sitting in the darkness, you are welcome here, my friend, and we are so glad you're here. Friends, our theme for this festive month of bright lights and deep darks is opening to joy. That's an interesting one, isn't it? And in these times, after this week, it's a tricky one. One colleague of mine joked that she considered changing this theme from opening to joy to opening to oi. And friends, last month, I invited you to join me in getting below the shoulders. Do you remember that? Getting out of our heads and feeling our way into an experience rather than intellectualizing it. As I've contemplated this opening to joy theme, or rather this theme, as I've contemplated this opening joy theme rather than the opening to oi theme this week, I've come to appreciate the way that opening to joy is a holistic practice, a practice for our whole being that goes above and below the shoulders. We open to joy with our minds and bodies, thoughts and feelings, head and heart, eyes and hands. Pause with me for a moment, won't you? And just ask yourself, how do I open to joy? And what happens when I open to joy? What happens when you open to joy? Friends, this morning we offer a service with a smile, a service on joy. And I am well aware that sorrow, angst, Omicron, and weariness abound these days. But here are these words from the writer, community gardener, and teacher Ross Gay from his Open to Joy book of essays, the Book of Delights. The excerpt I share from his book this morning is from an essay entitled, "Joy is Such Human Madness." He writes, "Among the most beautiful things I've ever heard anyone say came from my student Bethany, talking about her pedagogical aspirations, how she wanted to be as a teacher, and what she wanted her classrooms to be. She said, what if we joined our wildernesses together?" Sit with that for a minute. That the body, the life, might carry a wilderness, an unexplored territory, and that yours and mine might somewhere somehow meet, that our wildernesses might even join. And what if the wilderness, perhaps the densest wild in there, thickets, bogs, swamps, uncrossable ravines and rivers, have I made the metaphor clear, is our sorrow? It astonishes me sometimes, no, often, how every person I get to know, everyone, regardless of everything, by which I mean everything, lives with some profound personal sorrow. Everyone, regardless always of everything. And so I ask, is sorrow the true wild? And if it is, and if we join them, your wild to mine, what's that? What if we joined our sorrows? I'm saying, what if that is joy? Good morning, my friends, on this chilly and bright December day, a day as good as any to join in the wilderness of our sorrows, smile, and open to joy, so that we may reflect on why we gather and who we are. Won't you join me in the words of our unison affirmation? While some of you know these words by heart, for those of us still learning them, the affirmation is written in our orders of worship this morning, as well as in the chat. We are united in seeking to increase love with justice and to constitute a free church open to all people. Mindful of our past and drawing upon modern knowledge, we respond to the spiritual needs of persons and are devoted to the common good in community, nation, and world. We cherish the integrity of each individual and search for truth with reason as our guide. We respect differences of opinion and strive to be a democratic community. We are concerned with this world and open to the future. And to bless this space and time now, my friends, won't you join me as I light the symbol of Unitarian Universalism by reading with me our chalice lighting blessing. We light our chalice in peace and friendship. And Mac and Gwen, are you there?
Hi.
Hey.
Good morning.
Great smiles on both of you. Good to see you. Gwen, I hear we're doing some yoga this morning. I'm ready.
Well, yes, we are doing some yoga.
That is great because I've been practicing my sun salutation, so I think this will be good.
And I've been working into getting into the lotus position and really just clearing my mind.
Well, I hate to disappoint you both, but we're not doing vinyasa yoga or yin yoga. This morning we're doing hasya yoga.
What's hasya yoga?
Okay, wait for it. It's laughter yoga.
What? Laughter yoga? I thought yoga was supposed to be serious.
No, this is laughter yoga. It was made up by this physician from India. He invented laughter yoga. His name is Madan Kataria. Probably saying that wrong. As a way to relieve stress and promote positive thinking. His philosophy is that laughter is good for the body, just like the yoga that you're used to doing. He has said, when you start laughing, your chemistry changes, your physiology changes, your chances to experience happiness are much greater. Laughter yoga is nothing more than preparing the body and mind for happiness.
Okay, I'm sold. Let's try some laughter yoga.
Yeah, this is total opening to joy yoga. So everybody, won't you try it with us?
Okay, yeah, I want everybody to give this a try. All right, let's start with a laughter warm-up. So all you do is you take a deep breath in, and when you exhale with a ha. Okay, so let's try it. Deep breath in, ha.
Ha.
Ha,
Breath in. Ha.
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 Okay. So let's do a slight modification, and we're going to do a belly laugh. So hold your hands on your belly. And when you exhale, so you do the deep breath in, and when you exhale, push your stomach outward with your exhale and say, ha. All right. So belly laugh. Ha.
Ha.
Ha. That's hard.
Okay, let's do that one again. Ha. And I think this is one of the best things about laughter yoga is it might start out as fake laughing and then end up as real laughing.
Okay. I actually have one. I like this a lot. I have one we can try that's called lion laughter. And so we're going to do that thing where we take a deep breath, right? And when we breathe out, we're going to stick out our tongue and widen our eyes and stretch our hands out like claws while laughing. Are you ready?
Okay.
If everyone wants to turn their video on for this one, it feels like a perfect time to do so. Okay, are you ready? So we're going to take that deep breath in, and then when we breathe out, stick out the tongue, widen the eyes, and okay? Ha ha ha.
Okay.
Let's take that deep breath in. Ha!
Ha ha.
Oh, this is actually really fun. Okay, so we'll see if I can do this with a straight face. Here's one that works well on Zoom. Silent laughter. Okay, so open your mouth wide and then laugh without making a sound. Working on it.
Oh my gosh, that one's hard. As soon as I try to silent laugh, I want to laugh out loud.
Right?
That one's a tricky one. Okay, let's do one last try and do something seasonal. So how about a Santa laugh? So again, we're going to take a deep breath in and then do your best Santa laugh. Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, 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 ho,
Oh.
ho. Okay, so how do you both feel after doing some laughter yoga?
I loved it. I feel good and my mind and body feel prepared for happiness.
Yeah, I feel good too. It was kind of a good ab workout too, especially that silent one. That was
Yeah.
great. I namaste. Thank you. That was great. Thanks, Gwen.
Thanks, Gwen.
Before you guys go, can I tell you a you joke?
Yeah.
Sure thing.
Okay. Why did the you cross the road?
I don't know why.
I don't know this one.
To support the chicken in its search for its own path.
Absolutely.
All right. Namaste, you two. Thanks for laughing. Oh. Whew. I feel like we just learned a new way to pray and meditate, my friends, a new yoga practice. And I was kind of wondering how we do the exact segue between the laughter yoga practice to our time of joys and sorrows, but I actually think we might have just opened up a little bit and come more fully into this moment at hand, which is perfect because we now come to the time in our service that we set aside for quiet prayer and meditation, and maybe even some silent laughter. This is a time to reflect on the events of the past week, look forward to what might come in the days ahead, or simply be here now, in this moment, in all that it offers us in sensations and emotions. Following this moment of quiet, I will open our time of sharing, and all will be welcome to share a joy, a sorrow, or a concern that you carry with you today. So my friends, won't you join me now in once again taking a deep, refreshing breath in, a relaxing breath out, and entering into a sacred time of silence. My friends, we now come to the time in our service where we share for all we hold inside, for all we simply do not have the words to explain. Please know that we hear you and we hold you, and we pray for your immediate comfort, continued joy, a path forward, and the seeds of peace. Amen. I will turn it over to Andrew to introduce our offering.
This month, in honor of our fourth principle, our free and responsible search for truth and meaning, we share half of our offering with the Sunlight Media Collective of Indigenous and non-Indigenous media makers and activists, including Wabanaki tribal members. Their work presents stories affecting Wabanaki people, highlighting Wabanaki perspectives, with a particular emphasis on the intersection between environmental issues and tribal rights. Their founding documentary, The Penobscot Ancestral River Contested Territory, was released in 2015. You're invited to make your offering using the donate button in the order of worship. By clicking the link, you will be taken to Give Butter, a virtual giving site that accepts card number, PayPal, and Venmo accounts. You may also give your offering by dropping a check in the mail or using your bank's free bill pay feature. This morning's offering has now been requested and will be gratefully received. Thank you.
Shall be all within me.
Thank you, Sam. The reading I have to share with you is by Jenny Slate, who is a writer, artist, and comedian. And this is from her strange little book, Little Weirds. It's kind of an odd reading and it's a little on the longer side, but just go in, just open to joy and linger in this place with me for a moment, won't you? This is a chapter in her book called Nice Things to Do for Tipping Yourself Toward Gentleness and Simple Joy. Go for a walk outside. While you are on the walk, if there is a person with a dog, look at the dog and say, hi. Say hi to the dog first, and then look up at the person and laugh and say, hi, kindly, as if they know that their dog is great and you know it too. As if it's normal to say hello to the dog before hello to the person. As if it's normal to say hello to a dog at all. As if the person and you understand something together. You don't have to know what that thing is. It's about the feeling. And the feeling will most likely be there. And the experience can begin and end with that. Put on very fancy classical music and make yourself sit still and listen to it. Say the names of the different instruments to yourself in your head. Horn, violin, harp, cymbal, baby. Now, of course, imagine the orchestra and the instruments and use what energy you have left to imagine different animals playing the instruments. Break a few rules. For example, if you want, a horse can be sitting in a chair or playing an instrument that obviously requires fingers. It doesn't matter, it's fake, but the feeling that you will have when you think of this thing will be a real feeling. Write a note of encouragement to yourself and put it in a drawer that you use a lot. Later in the day, when you go to get a spoon or a sweater, there it will be, looking at you, saying something like, you're a little sweetheart, aren't you? Something like that. It will be good to feel a little embarrassed by the heightened emotion of the note. It will be good to have this treat and this little secret with yourself. Clean a room and tidy it with an air of fairness, like you are doing what is fair for the room. Say something like, there you are now, to the room when you're done fussing over it. And then sit in the room for at least a few minutes and listen, and do that and only that, which is actually hard and different than spacing out. It's hard to sit still and listen to everything you can listen to on purpose. If there's an animal to hold and soothe or just smooth the fur, do that. Turn your head to the side and give yourself a little kiss on the shoulder. Put on an outfit of all one color. Wash your face and hands. All right. My friends, I am overjoyed to report that since Friday, my inbox has been an ever-lengthening stack of emails with subject lines like, my joys, joy, 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 my 5 joys, the joy list, what's sparking joy, and a few in all caps, one of which had an exclamation point that just read, joy. And oh, what a joy it has been to A, read the joys you've been sharing with me, and B, know that quite a few of you actually read channels. For those of you who missed channels, surely for a very good reason this past Friday, and are scratching your heads at all this joyful business, let me explain. Last week, for whatever reason, well, for that ever lengthening list of reasons, I hit my limit with bad news. I just could not read another op-ed, another blog post, another front page, another urgent request for donations that began with a litany of terrible things that happened, are happening, or are about to happen. So I wrote to you all this past Friday in our church newsletter channels and invited you to send me a list of a few things bringing you joy right now. I included my own list in a message, both as a way of sparking your creative, joyful energies, and also, of course, as a way of sparking my own. I suggested that next week I would post the responses I received in channels, and it would be our collective litany of joy. And I hoped, for a handful of responses, like 4 or 5 of you would have a moment or take a moment to type up a few simple joys and send them along to me. But over the course of Friday, and then Saturday, and then even this morning, they kept coming in. Your simple joys, or rather, your joys. I think I've gotten about 20 responses at this point. That's not bad. In fact, that's very joyful news. My favorites were the couple of you that sent revised lists or addendums to the list you previously sent. You had more joys than you first realized, it seems. Excellent work on opening to joy, my friends. If you want to participate in this collective litany of joy, please do. Send me your joys. I'll share them with everyone next week. And I'm also happy to keep them in confidence if you prefer. The nicest part about reading your message was the vicarious joy that I felt with you. Here were all these joys: dog noses, wood stoves, clouds, winter squash, cookies, when the Patriots win. It was an ever-expanding list of so many simple, attainable, relatable, joyful things. And while I read your lists of all these miscellaneous joys, I felt a oneness emerge between us, that feeling of joining together in the wilderness. And when I think about it, if there's a wilderness of sorrow within us, let there also be a wilderness of joy. Reading all these joys and getting all these messages reminded me of a conversation I had last Sunday with my friend John, who was excited for the start of Hanukkah, the time of year when for a week he could celebrate the holidays in his favorite ways by making latkes and donuts and lighting candles with loved ones. I've confessed before to you all that Judaism is not an area of theological confidence for me. And this being said, John is a joy in my life for many reasons. But one reason is his willingness and often eagerness to answer my genteel questions. When I asked John what Hanukkah meant to him, he told me about his 5-star latke recipe and the really simple but wonderful joy of pausing to pray and light candles each evening. And then he told me about a debate on his mind this year, a debate that happened some 2,000 years ago between 2 schools of Jewish thought, the house of Hillel and the house of Shammai. These houses actually disagreed on most things. So many things that they developed a constructive and non-damaging way of arguing with one another called disagreements for the sake of heaven. This mode of arguing provided a model that maintained respect for all sides during disagreements. It also deepened relationships and even built and fortified friendships. Seems like a relevant and useful tool, huh? Disagreeing for the sake of heaven. I guess depending on how you feel about the person you're arguing with, the joy or the rub of disagreements for the sake of heaven is all arguments end with a final holy compromise. That compromise reads, both the one and the other side of the argument are words of the living God. both the one and the other side of an argument are the words of the living God. Hillel and Shammai's Hanukkah disagreement for the sake of heaven was on how one should light the Hanukkah menorah. As many of us probably know, the menorah is the Hanukkah lamp. It holds 9 candles, one for each of the 8 nights of Hanukkah, and a 9th spot in the middle for the shemesh, the candle used to light all the other candles. And the Jewish festival of Hanukkah celebrates the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem after the Seleucids, the Syrian Greeks, ransacked it in the 2nd century BC. When, after years of war, the Jewish Maccabees were able to return to their looted temple, their first step to rededicate the sacred space was to light a menorah in the temple that would burn at all hours. As the story goes, of course, the Maccabees only found a single jug of purified oil, enough to keep the menorah alight for maybe about a day. And they set light to it nonetheless, and miraculously, the oil burned in the lamp for 8 days straight. Enough time for the Maccabees to purify more oil and keep the lamp, the light of God's presence, ever burning. The 8 candles that are lit each day in Hanukkah on the Hanukkah menorah thus represent the 8 days that the oil burned in the temple. Each candle represents a miracle of sorts, an unexpected blessing from God. You might even call each light a joy. Hillel and Shammai were pretty on board with all of this. What they disagreed about, though, was the way one should light the candles of the menorah. Hillel believed that Jews should light an additional candle with each passing night of Hanukkah. So light 1 candle on the first night, 2 candles on the second night, 3 candles on the third night, and so on until the 8th night of Hanukkah, which I believe is tomorrow, when all 8 candles plus the 9th light of the Shamash will burn bright together. As is written in the Talmud, Hillel's argument for this way of lighting the menorah was that one can only elevate in their level of sanctity, never downgrade, which is a nice and, dare I say, rather universalist sentiment. Our goodness in this life, our sacredness of our beings can only increase. Shammai, however, thought the opposite. He felt that the lights should decrease over the course of the 8 days of Hanukkah, like a countdown. On the first night, you light all 8 candles. On the second night, you light 7 candles. On the third night, 6 candles, and so on, all the way down to the 8th night, the last night, wherein you would light just 1 candle. As many of you probably know, Hillel won this one. Traditionally, the lights of the Hanukkah menorah increase with the days of the festival. In the homes of our Jewish friends, 8 lights will all burn bright on the menorah tomorrow evening, the final night of Hanukkah. Our sanctity does not downgrade. Both the one and the other side of the argument are the words of the living God, though. And when my friend shared this ancient argument with me, he made a fairly good case for Shammai. If the Maccabees only had a small amount of oil, wouldn't it slowly burn out over the course of 8 days so that fewer lights could be lit? And also, more importantly, isn't this a better metaphor for life? Isn't each passing day not a countdown to an inevitable end, with the purpose, the brightness of our lives becoming ever more valuable and sacred as time goes on? Over the week, John shared a couple additional resources with me that I admit were relatively over my genteel head, but they made a case for Shammai's argument. One described Shammai as more of a realist than Hillel, someone whose teachings were sharper and harder to take in. Given the details of this Hanukkah disagreement, I can't help but read Hillel as more of a glass half full kind of guy, while Shammai is definitely holding a glass that's half empty. There's an idea that once the messianic age of the Jewish people begins, hasn't started yet, when it's written, the knowledge of the Lord will fill the world as water covers the bed of the sea, i.e., when the hard times stop and the good times begin, people will have more stamina and interest for Shammai's teachings. In hard times, though, it's hard to hear hard teachings. Thinking of a Hanukkah menorah ablaze on the final night of the Festival of Light, with all 9 candles lit, a bright, warm symbol of the blessings of God, the miracles possible on this earth, the sanctity of beings, the abounding joys. I think of the lists and the revised lists and the addendums of abounding joys you shared with me this week. There seem to be so many bright joys present in any given moment. And once we open to just one of them, more and more naturally follow. Sanctity can only increase. But then I think of a Hanukkah menorah softly glowing with a single light. One light that stands for the limited but great value of our lives. One light, one joy, one spark that is perhaps all we really need to live wholly, fully, and joyfully. One light that stands for the oneness of all life. A soft light that leaves room for mysterious darkness, that wilderness of uncertainty that we all have within. What if we joined our wildernesses together, writes Ross Gay. Sit with that for a minute. That the body, the life might carry a wilderness, an unexplored territory, and that yours and mine might somewhere, somehow meet, even join. Is sorrow the true wild? And if it is, and if we join them, your wild to mine, what's that? What if we joined our sorrows? What if that is joy? One light. Friends, open to joy. Joy is here, now, glowing softly, singularly amidst the wildernesses of our sorrows. And also, joy is ablaze. It is ever increasing and abounding within us and all around us. Both the one and the other side of this argument are words of the living God. Let us open to both. My friends, this month, this week, this day, this hour, tip yourself towards gentleness and simple joy. Write a list of your joys right now, your bright, soft, dark, wild joys. Send them to me if you want. Send them to everyone. If there be a wilderness of sorrow, let there also be a wilderness of joy. Let us join together in both of those places and celebrate the sanctity of this life we share. Let it be so, and amen. Our closing hymn is Light One Candle. Words are in your order of worship, and perhaps in the chat in a second. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Pete, for being in the sanctuary with Sam this morning. Thank you, Kai and Gwen and Mac. Thank you, Andrew. And thanks be to all of you. It was good to share this bright hour with you this morning. As we come to the end of our service, I invite you to join me once again in a time of prayer. May all beings be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings experience profound joy and the causes of profound joy. May we all be free, and may we never be alone with our joys or our sorrows. May our wilderness always grow from an earth of love. And won't you join me in the words of our unison benediction, my friends? They are in the chat and in your order of worship. For those who come here seeking God, may God go with you. For those who come embracing life, may life return your affection. For those who come to seek a path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step. Go in peace, my friends. We will see you soon. If you'd like to hang on Zoom, we'll have a coffee hour and time of fellowship together. I'll see you there.